Hello, and thank you for your interest in this screencast. Zentyal Server offers a Linux alternative to Windows servers. Its main advantage is the ease of use with which it allows to manage the domain and directory services typical to a Windows domain, thanks to the native implementation of the Microsoft Active Directory protocols. This tutorial is one of a series of videos showing the capabilities of Zentyal Server as a native replacement for Windows Server. We are going to show different use cases, running real examples, and in order to do this, we will use virtual machines to deploy these scenarios. In this first tutorial, we will configure Zentyal as a standalone server. This means that Zentyal will be the first domain server of the organization, and it will be used to manage users, groups, and other resources of our domain. We will show how to create users, join a Windows client to the domain, log in with the created users, and how to access shared resources. First of all, we have to go to the System tab and configure our domain. We go to General, scroll down, and configure our domain as we wish. In my case, I will configure it as zentyal.lan. Let's click on the Change button, then on OK, and then we save changes. Once this is done, we can go to the Domain tab, where we have to make sure that the server role is Domain Controller. The realm and NetBIOS name should have been configured automatically correctly, and then we can activate the Domain Controller module. This will enable a series of dependent modules such as NTP and DNS. We wait that these modules and dependencies are enabled. Once the process has finished, the required modules are enabled, and we just have to save changes so that the system provisions Samba. So let's save changes, confirm, and wait for the configuration process to finish. Once it's finished, we have our Zentyal server configured as domain controller. We can now go to the Users and Computers tab and Manage. Now we only have to create our administrator user, who we are going to call Domain Admin. Once the user has been created, we just have to add it to the group of domain administrators. Now we can create a test user who can access the domain and log in. This user will be called John Doe. Now we can switch to a Windows client where we can test the different features of our domain controller. Once we're in, the first thing to do is to join the computer to a domain. To do this, you need to go to Start and then to the form that allows us to join to the domain. Let's select Domain and introduce our domain, which in this case is zentyal.lan. To join the computer to a domain, we have to authenticate with the administrator user that we have created before. As you can see, we are now within our domain. Then you have to restart the computer, and once this is done, you can start the session with any user. In my case, I will test with John. As you can see, it works perfectly. We have started the session with John Doe, and we have the username here. Now we can try to add a shared resource and see if John can access it. On Zentyal Server, we just have to go to the File Sharing tab, where we add a shared folder that we're going to name Marketing. Let's save it under the Zentyal directory with the name Marketing and Add. Now we just have to go to Access Control and give permissions to our user John so that he can read and write on this folder. Let's give him the permissions and confirm by saving changes. Once the changes have been saved, we can go back to our Windows client and see if John can access the shared folder. To do this, we go to Libraries and simply write the domain name, the FQDN, that consists of the hostname of our server plus the domain. In my case it would be zen51, that is the hostname of my server, .zentyal.lan, that is my domain. As you can see, John has read and write access to the marketing folder. Another option would be to map the shared resource. In this case, we would select the letter that we want to assign to a resource, and when the session starts, we are reconnected to it. We save it, and now it appears on the Computer tab, as you can see. Another advantage offered by Zentyal is the compatibility with Windows RSAT tools. Thanks to this, we can manage our servers either through users and groups or group policies. For example, if we access the group policies as domain administrator, we can manage different group policies and to create users in different applications. This gives us the option to manage our domain with another user-friendly interface.